in this world of motivational content and Andrew Tate and Grant Cardone and David Goggins and everybody's shouting at you through a screen that you need to do better and you need to try harder and that you're a little wimp for getting sleep, you're a terrible person for having emotions, you ought not to rest, you need to be a bad person, whatever shit advice they're giving you, right? It's going to be a weird place to start this video by telling you that you need to be less harsh on yourself, but you need to be less harsh on yourself. Because look, I've been doing this self-improvement thing for almost a decade, and there's been really high highs where I feel like I've unlocked a new level of life. There've been really low lows where I feel like I'm in a rut and I'm not good enough. But in all of that time, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the moments when I'm most self-critical are also the moments when I get the least done. They're the periods where I enjoy life the least. They're the periods where I get stuck in this negative loop of not making any progress. And all the while, it makes life miserable. Because if you've clicked on a video like this and you're this far into it, it's at least somewhat likely that you've dabbled in self-improvement content before, right? You've watched the videos and you've read the books and you've listened to the podcasts and you genuinely want to do better. You want to build a life worth living. You want to provide for yourself or the people around you, and you want to do something with your really limited time on this earth. And all of that's good. I'm not going to tell you it's not. Most of my videos are about the fact that all of that stuff is worth pursuing. But there's this really tricky grey area that so many people fall into, particularly if you're somebody like you who watches content like this, where no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you do, no matter how well you're doing, you think you could be doing more. And so you look not at the gain of what we've done so far, but you look at the gap of how far you still have to go, and you tell yourself that because you're not there yet, you're not somebody, you're not worthy, you're not a good person. And I want to make the case in this video, as simple and unprofound as it is, that you're doing okay and that you really ought to be less harsh on yourself. Not hold yourself to a lower standard, not expect less of yourself, but be more compassionate towards yourself in the same way that you would a friend or family member or child. Because if you see somebody who you love trying their absolute best, really wanting to make progress and putting their all into something, there is no way that you would speak to them in the negative ways you speak to yourself. There is no way that on their worst days, when they're struggling most, you would shout at them, or you would pick out their insecurities and point to them and say, this is why you're bad. And yet, that's exactly what you do with yourself when you're trying your best, when you're trying to make progress. And Jimmy Carr has this idea that there is the golden rule and then the platinum rule. Golden rule is treat others as you expect to be treated yourself. And the platinum rule is treat yourself in the same way you treat others. Because if you spoke to your friends in the same way you speak to yourself, there is no way they would be your friends. If you spoke to your parents in the same way you speak to yourself, they would very quickly put you in your place. If you spoke to your boss or your colleagues and said some of the stuff that you say to yourself, you would be fired so quickly. And yet, as motivated people who want to do well, whether it's because of the content we consume or the way our minds work, we think that speaking to ourselves in that way and being incredibly harsh and derogatory is not only useful, but we think it will get us ahead. We think it is a necessary component of building a life worth living, without sensing the irony that you're living your life right now. This is it. You are living. And so if you're currently making your life miserable, if you currently don't enjoy your existence, if you currently think you're not good enough or you're not worthy, then you're failing by the very measure that you have set out yourself to live a life worth living, regardless of how motivated you are, regardless of how much you want to achieve. In this moment here, when you are alive, when you are trying your best, you need to enjoy yourself. You need to feel okay. You need to not feel anxious all the time or hate who you are as a person. And to do that, you need to be less harsh. To do that, you need to be more forgiving. You need to give yourself the time and the space to breathe on the days when it's good and on the days when it's bad, the days when you get lots done and the days when you get nothing done. And there is no big profound lesson in this video. It's just a chance for you to stop for a minute once it's over. Reflect on how far you've come over the past few years. Acknowledge how far you want to go, but then realize that the only way you're going to get there in a sustainable way is by being less harsh on yourself, is by being more forgiving, is by trusting yourself more and being more compassionate to yourself. And all of these things are unpopular on the internet these days because it's not hyper masculine. And it might not be, but it's more sustainable and it's more productive, and it will help you build the life you want far sooner and in a far less miserable way. So be less harsh on yourself. Just something to think about. Let me know in the comments if you agree. You might think that I've got this completely wrong. Maybe you do need to beat yourself up for a few years in order to build a life worth living. I used to think that, I don't anymore, but do let me know if you disagree. If you're not already, please make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. Every Sunday I drop a video with a simple idea helping you live a better life. And if you enjoyed this one, please do click the like button. It helps more than you realize. That's everything for this week. I'll see you next week.